interesting choice.
It would just be such a big call as we do finally have now visual on our game one on the stream, but it would just be such a hard call for Anthony to make to click a water spout safely in turn one in front of this Miraidon. But because the Miraidon locks in a Draco Meteor, this Amoonguss on Anthony's side has Terra Fairy available to it. I think that's maybe what we're seeing right now, as you can click Terra Fairy, redirect the Draco Meteor, it'll do nothing into that Pokemon. And Farigiraf, yes, it does have that Psychic offensively, but if it's not super effective, it's really not doing all that much damage into a Pokemon.
Not even a little bit. Yeah, actually, really good call here. Now, there goes Draco Meteor right into that slot. Not switching out. Would have been a good call to switch that out here, but Water Spout's going to do astronomical amounts of damage to this Farigiraf. And, of course, even a resistant hit in the rain, still doing a sizable, more than half. To a Miraidon here.
So much damage.
That is too much damage. That's what happened. You see, just as I said it before, we really wanted to get rid of this Amoonguss, and here's why.
It just makes life so hard for your Pokemon. And now you have your Ho-Oh on the field. We were talking about how it's not the world's greatest game for Ho-Oh defensively. You might feel forced, as it looks like Brian is blocking into to Terrastalize into the Grass type just so you can survive this one turn in front of the Kyogre. But now we're in a position where Brian has gone ahead and revealed all four of his Pokemon, while Anthony is still just sitting with his two leads.
It's not bad. The switch here is pretty good because now we do have Fake Out pressure for the next turn coming in, but also we're not locked into Draco Meteor anymore, so that's huge here. And of course, locking in a Terra here for Ho-Oh means we're not going to take too much damage from the Water Spout, but we can also go for Brave Bird. We don't have to go for like the fire option in this rain here, of course. So we can still get some decent damage with Brave Bird here. I think they locked it into Kyogre. Let's see how much this does. Wow, that's over half.
Again, you just see how much damage Kyogre can do, and crucially outspeeding the Ho-Oh, showing how both of these Pokemon are trained. A very fast Kyogre, it seems, and a Ho-Oh that does not really prioritize its speed means that now there's just so much damage that's been spread around onto Brian's Pokemon that even with the Fake Out in this turn, it's not the most difficult thing in the world for Anthony to reposition the restricted Pokemon, bring out the Fake Out of your own, and just try to put yourself into a position that you can come back and clean things up a little bit later with one of your spread damage dealing restrictions.
Absolutely. Kyogre also had that Water Spout damage halved, essentially, because taking damage there is going to make that attack do way less, regardless of rain or not. So the switch here is perfect. And honestly, I think this is a pretty decent position to be in. We're trading Fake Outs this turn. Oh, we're not. We're going for the Wild Charge. Okay, that's really good damage on the move this here. We're going to get hit by the recoil from Rocky Helmet and, of course, the move itself. That's another Pokemon down here. Oh, no.
And just like that, Brian's going to be down to his final two Pokemon. A very heads-up switch, though, as Anthony brought in the Rillaboom, taking away the electric terrain, making a Sword from there. A very, very heady switch, and for Brian, taking advantage of the fact that because Ho-Oh was slower than Kyogre, so it switched second onto the field in that last turn to reset electric terrain.
Here's what I'm expecting this upcoming turn. Amoonguss is going to redirect, so we have a safe switch in on the other side. We can lose Amoonguss here now that we have electric terrain. We don't really have a use for Amoonguss. He did the dirty that we needed in the beginning. But now we get a free switch into a new Pokemon if they knock out Amoonguss. And we can also threaten some damage here with this Rillaboom. I wonder what they're going to decide to do here.
Yeah, Brian at least is in a position where he potentially threatens a double KO. I can't be certain on if a Ho-Oh Brave Bird would want to KO a Rillaboom. But it's now on Anthony's side, switching the Amoonguss out back into the Kyogre.
Interesting.
Feels very interesting.
Yeah, preserving the Amoonguss here is nice. Okay, we do get the Fake Out.
And the Electro Drift is just going to go into what was the Amoonguss, picking up a KO on a Kyogre. You know, I think that probably is going to KO a couple of
no, I think it was done. Yeah, Electro Train, I think we were good.
Might have been a Damon's roll. But
and now we lose the rain too. Okay, so Calyrex. Okay, we do find a way to get this in. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you do have a safe switch in then for your Calyrex Ice Rider, but with no rain, it now maybe becomes a bit of a guessing game on, is something going to protect on Anthony's side, where is that going to happen? The Amoonguss will switch in for the Rillaboom. I would imagine it's just to protect from the Calyrex Ice Rider. You know, the idea being on Anthony's side that if Amoonguss survives through this turn, you'll be able to redirect his attack next turn and click Glacial Lance and clear the board. Or, if Amoonguss does feint, you can either fake out these slots, then you have your Glacial Lance endgame set up.
Regenerator coming in huge clutch here from Amoonguss, surviving that Sacred Fire with that Fairy typing too. That's really nice combination. Now we can actually maybe redirect here with Amoonguss, or we can try to go for Spore. I don't see it doing a whole lot before Rillaboom comes back in. Or they could ignore. Oh, well, no, it's going to be a Rage Powder here.
It's a pretty safe Rage Powder.
Yeah.
You're going to redirect the Electro Drift from Miraidon. And you maybe could have talked yourself into saying, okay, well, Miraidon is at just a little bit above or under half of its HP. If this Sacred Fire from Ho-Oh can burn the Calyrex Ice Rider, potentially, you know, there's a world where Miraidon can survive a Glacial Lance if the attack damage from the Cali Ice is burned or is halved, which that did so much. Wow. We're going to see that, but what I was going to say was, you know, you did have this huge Rocky Helmet recoil, and at that range, there's no chance.
There's no chance. Wow, another knockout here. Down to their last Pokemon. Ho's got to be able to do it right now. But under Fake Out, I think we're pretty close to the end game here. Rillaboom's going to be coming back in, resets the terrain, Fake Out will be in play. We get a free attack here with our Miraidon, oh, excuse me, Calyrex.
Yeah, the Ho-Oh does have Protect, so you can protect with Fake Out. But of course, the very safe play from Anthony's end is just Fake Out plus Trick Room.
Yep.
And then, even if the Ho-Oh does Protect, you'll just move first on the next turn.
Yeah, it's looking pretty locked in right now. I would be thinking about game 2. How did you feel about Ho-Oh in this game?
I think it is very interesting that the Ho-Oh decided to come out this one. You know, generally, it is pretty difficult, I think, for Anthony to get Trick Room up safely. The Amoonguss is just so beholden to redirecting for Pokemon like the Kyogre to get all those water spouts off, that it's hard to keep that and the Rillaboom around to allow you to set Trick Room unless you're in, you know, this kind of 2 versus 1 scenario. And as long as you're not in Trick Room, the Iron Bundle on Brian's side is the fastest Pokemon on the field for either team. You know, you have the Encore, which can do a lot of really interesting things, you know, disrupting the game plan on Anthony's side. Plus, not insignificantly, this Iron Bundle has Freeze Dry.
Yeah, that can come up.
It's a move that's super effective into water types like Kyogre. It's just one more way to do damage into that Kyogre, which we saw was such a problem early in that first game.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you have moves like Encore. If you get caught in a Protect turn, that's another way to get tricked up. I really think that would have been a nice call for this first game here with Iron Bundle, but maybe it comes in now. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the Iron Bundle's a great switch up for Brian's side. You know, I think you just have to find ways to utilize your defensive pieces a little bit better. You know, of course, we have the Miraidon, which does resist water moves from Kyogre. We have the Iron Hands, which has the Assault Vest for special damage, and just the naturally sky-high defense and HP stats. You know, those are 2 Pokemon that should be able to take on, at the very least, Kyogre pretty well. For Iron Hands, you should be able to use that defensively against both restricted from Anthony's team. But because you were forced into that, you're forced on the back foot immediately by locking the Draco Meteor with your Miraidon turn 1 of game 1. You had to switch the Iron Hands in front of a full power water spout.
It makes things so tricky.
It's just so much more difficult when you take that much damage early in this game against a team that can snowball as well as Anthony's does. And that's why we are seeing the switch up on Brian's side. Iron Hands being led now next to the Miraidon, staring down once again Kyogre and Amoonguss.
I very much love this adjustment made here. Drizzle will be coming into play, but that's not really much of a worry for either of these 2 Pokemon. And now you're threatening this Kyogre with massive amounts of damage. I imagine we could lead off again with a double Protect turn just as we did in the first game, but maybe we can play with that advantage. Now, what if we click a Water Spell thinking, hey, you know, they saw what I did the first time, maybe they're going to try to change up or overthink my play. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, the benefit of being up 1 game to none.
Oh, I can do things now.
That you can't afford to make those calls. I think, you know, knowing Anthony as a person, knowing him as an HGC player, I think he'll identify the very safe, you know, double protect with his 2 Pokemon here on turn 1, just like you had mentioned.
Okay, but
As
switch.
exactly Brian trying to get some initiative of his own, switching into the Iron Bundle. That Pokemon that does have Encore. If we do see Protect coming out from both of the Pokemon on Anthony's side, now we're in a position where Encore can do some
very big damage. Oh, that's not what you want to see. Now, how do we stop ourselves from getting Encore? We can predict and maybe make a switch out the target of the Encore. Maybe that'd be a free switch in that way, but that's going to be hard to call, right? Who do you Encore here? I think I Encore the most annoying Pokemon, which would be Amoonguss. I don't like Amoonguss doing anything. And then maybe we can do some extra damage before Water Spark starts coming out. But if I remember correctly, we have a little bit of speed on this Kyogre too, so I would be a little bit scared of that. Maybe Encore into the Kyogre slot, making sure they don't get an attack off before what I can do, what I want to do. And then we can maybe fake out or do something to this Amoonguss.
Yeah,
Never mind!
This is the counterplay on Anthony's side, is you have Rage Powder with higher priority, so that you can get Encore into a Rage Powder potentially. But Brian, seeing through that play,
Oh,
gets
here it
the right to that
comes!
slot.
Oh, they both hung on! Focus Ash here doing wonders, of course. But man, Daddy Hands just gonna go ahead and shrug that one off just a little bit. Wild Charge into Amoonguss due to the Rage Powder here, and now we still have a supremely well-positioned Kyogre here. Now, what do you bring in to support this Kyogre? We can't even get another Fake Out user to come in, because Rillaboom is still in the back, of course. Maybe change up the terrain. This is a pretty scary position. Kyogre just... Oh no, we bring Calyrex.
As the Calyrex Ice Rider coming onto the field, not threatened too much by this Iron Bundle, of course, but the Iron Hands, you can at least do a lot of damage to it.
Yeah,
In Electric Terrain, you get the Quark Drive boost to your attack stat, but already, even though the HP stats on the 2 Pokemon on the field for Brian don't look too great, as long as you can stay out of Trick Room at this point in the game, I think Brian is in a much better position in this contest. Of course, he has the Pokemon advantage 4-3 right now, and crucially, a full health Miraidon in the back that's going to be able to take at least 1 hit from this Kyogre, which we haven't really mentioned yet. One only like Water Spout, but the other 2 attacks it has are both also Water type moves. It's a Pokemon that is very singularly focused. As the first strike comes out, this is going to be very good damage to the Kyogre, just over half of his HP. Water Spout is going to pick up both of these Pokemon, which, on the bright side, if you're Brian, you're not going to give this Calyrex Ice Rider for any boosts from taking KOs with Glacial Lance. But it looks like, yes, a great turn to Electric for Anthony, acknowledging that there wasn't a ton of threat of damage from Brian's side into the Calyrex Ice Rider specifically. Even if your Kyogre takes that damage, now you're in a position where your Calyrex Ice Rider is just so strong.
Absolutely. It's such a tricky position for Ho-Oh, again, because even if we terrestrialize into our grass typing, we're looking at a Calyrex. So what do you really do here in this position? Maybe we could go for Sacred Fire into this Calyrex, get a burn? I don't know.
You really just need to prioritize damage onto the Calyrex Ice Rider.
Yeah.
It will depend on how the Miraidon and the Calyrex are trained, but typically, Calyrex Ice Riders are trained to survive a Choice Specs Electro Drift in terrain from an opposing Miraidon. There's, they will just generally have that much bulk. We do have the piece of information from Game 1 that the Ho-Oh on Brian's side is slower than the Kyogre for Anthony. So at the very least, this Kyogre, but
what a call out. Both attacks going into a Protect here, which means we're going to get another attack from this Kyogre completely unimpeded. Here comes the big damage. Okay, not bad on the Miraidon here. We're doing okay, but Ho-Oh on its last legs. Electro Drift into a Protect. Oh, man.
And just like you mentioned, a very, very strong Protect. Anthony playing an extremely principled game, very strong fundamentals.
Yes.
Understanding in that position, assuming, we don't know the 4th Pokemon on his side, but assuming it is the Rillaboom, turn to Calyrex Ice Rider, if the Ho-Oh, for example, targets down his Kyogre, you will probably pick up the KO with Brave Bird, but then you have your Rillaboom on the field. And with Rillaboom, you
switch out.
A switch out, but the Calyrex Ice Rider is still just going to do so much damage here. Even with a defensive fractalization on Brian's side, I think we saw the Miraidon going to become a pure fairy type, I believe. Now that it doesn't have the electric terrain to boost its special attack,
It's not nearly as threatening.
nowhere near enough damage, especially into a leftovers Calyrex Ice Rider in the grassy terrain. You're just going to recover so much HP. And crucially, this Glacial Lance is still going to do way too much damage to
It's
a
Glacial
Pokemon.
Lance. It just does all the damage. Sacred Fire Burn was really important. Now we're protecting here. Almost wish you went for that attack now at this point, because maybe that could have helped a little bit, but now we're going to see just how crazy a Calyrex can be.
Yeah, the Glacial Lance likely will not be quite enough to pick up the Miraidon, but you'll need a critical hit and maybe then some.
Yeah,
Outside of electric
wow.
terrain, just showing how bulky this Calyrex Ice Rider is.
No
Yeah, I
more
think we're
range,
just-
okay, for Ho here. We can get a little something.
Yeah, well,
I don't know, dude.
I don't know about you. I'm not convinced that a Ho is going to take less than 45 HP from a Glacial Lance. That's just me. But an extremely strong showing from Anthony's side. I think did have
Yeah.
some advantage in team preview.
Yes,
Certainly just the extra bulk allowed him to trade damage very effectively against a team like Brian's, but expertly piloted as we've come to
As-
expect from this player.
Absolutely. Honestly, it was just a tough position to be in. I don't think Ho should have came to these games. But what other option did he have? He had Iron Hands, he had Farigiraf, so maybe he felt it was best for Ho to come in. Who knows? But hey, the game's over now.
It's got such high natural special defense. You just have so many more stats than a Pokemon like Farigiraf. And,
Yes.
you'd think it will do something, but again, great way to start off our day. We're excited heading on forward. I think we'll be at 4 rounds total.
Yes, 4 rounds total today.
Getting the thumbs up from Gerd on that one. So be right on back for the next 3 after this break.